This video walks you through the process of authenticating an entity, which can then be identified as a named party or designated representative of a named party on registrations. An authenticated entity can accept or refuse consent to a submission. Only authorized users can file for entity authentication. To prepare an authenticated entity submission, select the Entity Authentication button on the dashboard card. On the Entity Authentication form, enter the legal name of the entity as it appears on the corporate registration documentation from the entity's home jurisdiction. Enter the email address that is accessible to individuals with accountability for the entity's dealings with the registry. Enter the address of the entity as it appears on entity's corporate documentation. Provide the phone number of a person authorized to represent the entity seeking authentication, should the registrar seek clarification. As part of the entity authentication process, legal details regarding the entity and supporting documentation from the relevant government authority are required in the submission. Include the unique identifier for the entity as indicated on its official corporate registration documentation. Include the business structure as identified on the supporting documentation. Official documentation from the relevant government jurisdiction must be uploaded as part of the submission, in PDF format. Then, click Next to continue to the Authority to Act as Administrator step. The registrar requires evidence that the user has been authorized to act on behalf of the entity as its primary administrator. An upload of a completed Authority to Act as Administrator form is required. The form can be downloaded from this page. If needed, you can save your application as a draft and come back to it later when you have the form ready. Click Upload File to upload the completed form. Click Next to continue to the review step. On this page, carefully review the submission details and complete the declaration. Click Submit to continue to payment. Authenticated entity status is granted on a paid annual renewal basis, and payment for the initial 12-month period is made at this step. Enter payment card details and select Pay by Credit Card. Upon completion of payment, the form will be submitted for review by the registrar. Users will be notified on the Messages tab when their application has been processed.